What's going on, Fargo fans? Daniel here, and welcome to my Fargo Season 3, Episode 2 spoiler review. Now, it should take me about 2 minutes to recap the episode, then give you my pros, cons, and final score. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, last week's premiere, I enjoyed very much. I didn't think it was great. I don't think it's a Season 1 or Season 2 type of level so far, but honestly, Noah Hawley always gets me somehow or another. The dark humor, Ian McGregor, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Carrie Coon. I mean, you got an awesome cast. They always do amazing with the cast. And 2010 wasn't the feeling for me, honestly. It still kind of isn't. It's still kind of hard to believe that this is 2010 in the show, and it's not like this is like not the 90s or because I don't know, man. Like, just it doesn't feel 2010 to me. But honestly, I am enjoying the show a lot more. I think episode 1 was good. I think this one was slightly a better than episode 1 of the season 3 premiere, but it's still kind of iffy 50 as of right now. Anyway, I'm going to get into the recap. That should just take me about 2 minutes or so, and then I'll get into the pros and cons. So if you've already seen the episode, hopefully you have. If you don't want to watch the recap, you can just skip through and go to the pros and cons instead. Or if you want to watch the recap and then watch pros and cons, it's all fine. I know some people complain. You could always skip through the recap. You don't always have to watch the recap. I just want to notify you guys about that. Anyway, thank you guys again for stopping by. I'm also going to be reviewing Better Call Saul Season 3 and many more stuff like Legion Season 1 and Taboo Season 1. So stay tuned for that, as well as the rest of The Walking Dead Season 7. Fear the Walking Dead's coming up. Preacher's coming up. A lot more shows are coming up. So get ready and stay hyped, I guess. Stay woke is what they call it nowadays. Stay woke. It's always something new. Anyway, let's get on to the recap. So we begin the episode with Gloria investigating her stepfather's stuff, or ex-stepfather, or dearly departed. The guy who died last week, Maurice killed him, superglued his mouth shut and all that. Such a loss, I know, right? So anyway, she's investigating the stuff that he left and that was hidden under the floor, you know, all those Playboy mags and stuff. She's looking at that. She's like, oh man, this was what he was into. I don't like that. That's not good. Sexism. It's wrong. I'm kidding. It's a bunch of books and shit, and she's like, oh man, what does this connect to? Well, we don't know yet. Something that really interests me is that she goes up to the police station and the censors don't notice her. The same thing happened last week at the store of her uncle's, or stepfather's, my bad. Her stepfather, the censors didn't work on her. And in a promo a few weeks ago, she goes to like a grocery store or something, and the censors don't work again. She ends up bumping into the door. Where is this leading to? And that's not like a con or anything. I'm just saying, I'm very, very like, where does this go? Is she a ghost? Is this a sixth sense? I mean, what is she? Why is she not being censored and everyone else is? You know, why doesn't it see her? So I'm very interested to see where that goes as well. Emmett ends up reporting VM to Irv and saying, we need to get this guy off our back. He's coming. He's in our system. He's kind of threatening us. You know, we need to do research or stuff like this. And Irv ends up researching him, and he clicks on this link. And you shouldn't research the Boogeyman because it's going to bite you on your ass, man. So he ends up clicking on this link, and it takes a photo of him. Basically, as I see it, you're basically dead. You shouldn't have been researching. You're dead. So anyway, a photo was taken. Gloria ends up taking the phone book that Maurice ended up ripping a page off of last week. She takes it as evidence. VM arrives at one of Stussy's places at one of the parking lots, and he has an 18-wheeler in it that is holding secret stuff that no one knows. Emmett's friend, or lover, I like to call him a lover, it's not really his lover, but by the way, Emmett's friend is always near Emmett. It seems like he's his lover because he's always telling Emmett what to do and stuff like that, when Emmett should be the boy and she, or he, should be the girl. Now anyway, he says, slave girls, maybe it's slave girls. I have no idea. Oh Jesus, this is not the Minnesota I grew up in. Now that wasn't exactly the line he used, but whatever. Now Ray has bad chi, he needs to get all that chi out of it. I know how. Maybe if he goes and Nicki in the pool and maybe they just go at it, he'll release some of that chi. But he's going to make amends with Emmett instead. So anyway, they're talking, and he also says Nicki has a walnut ass or a nutcracker ass. I totally agree. She's also on her period, FYI. Didn't need to know that. Thanks a lot anyway. I still love you, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Now, anyway, so while Emmett and Ray are talking about making amends and stuff and we're sorry, Nicki's actually on the inside of Emmett's house trying to steal a stamp. She did not find the stamp. She saw a donkey photo, so he ended up taking the stamp and hiding it, and there's a donkey photo, replacing it. Now she ends up getting her stuff out and writes blood on the wall with the blood from her thing, and with her thing, and ends up writing "Who's the ass now?" something like that. So hygiene, very very clean girl. I could see why Rey likes her. She's cool. Anyway, so she knows that, or Emmett goes in and he ends up finding out, and he's pissed off at Rey. He doesn't trust Rey anymore. So Irv is killed by one of VM's henchmen, and Emmett hears about Irv. Emmett's friend talks to Rey, which is Michael Strolberg, or whatever that actor's name is, and he ends up threatening him and saying, "You're not going to talk to Emmett anymore. He doesn't like you, and your girlfriend is sick. That was gross." So anyway, after that, he ends up crashing into Rey's car on purpose, like 2 times. So Rey's car is kind of totally bonkered right now. And at the end, VM ends up moving into Emmett's office, and he tells them just to lay back, let us do all the work. Now he's officially inside Emmett's company, right in front of them. Took it all right in front of Emmett's eyes, man. Anyway, now on to the pros and cons. Starting off the pros, I am very happy that we got to see more of Carrie Coon's character, Gloria. Now, in episode 1, we didn't get to see much of her, and I did complain that the way she came off across, I wasn't a big fan of. Now, in episode 2, it's still kind of the same. I'm not a huge fan of Gloria yet, but I am happy that we got to see a little bit more of her. The more we see, the more we get to learn of her. She was more just investigating, and I did like her friend from the police station. I will say the whole chief, I didn't care for the police chief. I didn't care for those scenes there, but the other scenes were fine with her, and we do get to learn a little bit more about her. Now, probably my favorite scene out of this whole entire episode is when Rey and Emmett are making up, and they're outside, and it's that beautiful shot. Again, the cinematography is always beautiful. Every episode in Fargo, never bad cinematography, but the way it was shot, and Lord knows how they did it, man. I know it's been done before, but here comes Emmett, and you both have Ian McGregor in the shot, unless it's a great stunt double, because they're both walking in the same shot, and they're walking outside in the snow, and I'm just like, I'm smiling my ass off, man. I'm super excited, and I'm like, this is awesome. Rey saying his stuff. Emmett is like totally, oh yeah, I feel the same way. I feel, they're just going at it, man. And I really enjoyed that part a lot. That's my favorite scene out of this whole entire episode, is where they're just making amends, and you feel it, and you're like, you're happy for them, and Nicki's messing it all up. Nicki's messing it up inside. And I don't know what I thought. I didn't think she'd find the stamp, but what she did too was more Fargo style dark comedy or dark humor with the period blood, putting it everywhere. So that kind of made sense there. There always has to be some dark twist to it. As well, when Rey's car ended up getting hit, I'm not a big fan. That's part of the con. I'm not a big fan of that guy, Michael Strolberg. I don't hate him, but I'm just saying his character, the way he always comes across as kind of a, not saying, but kind of a lover to Emmett in a way, like more than a friend. He's always on... Oh, not like controlling Emmett in a way, and I think Emmett should be the one to control him, not the guy controlling Emmett. It's the way he comes across. Not a big fan of his character, and he's fine with the words he says and the dialogue he has. And the actor's fine. I'm saying the way the character comes across, I do not like that guy. He's annoying. He's possessive. He's controlling. Why are you telling Emmett what to do? You're just telling him every little piece, and I get it, friends do the best for friends, but you shouldn't be talking to your brother in the first place. Let Emmett decide, okay? Let Emmett be the man to decide in this relationship, okay? Now, another thing I find interesting about this episode that I didn't find interesting about episode 1 last week was VM Varga, the character of VM. I actually like him a little bit more now than I liked him last week, because last week I kind of just saw him as in the office and he's threatening Emmett, and I'm like, oh, where's this going? I really don't care. I don't want to see this. And then the 18-wheeler scene, and the way he plays it, and he's like, I have an appointment here, Mr. Stussy will let me in. And then he just ends up dissing the guy, and he ends up going in anyway. He's like, come on, boys. He has that look to him, and the teeth, and it just, I don't know, reminds me so much of a character that would be working for the Master and the Strain. That's what he reminds me of so much, like of Eldritch, or one of the characters, man, in the strain. He reminds me so Icorse. He reminds me of Icorse, but right now in Fargo, and that's what amazes me. I'm like, we have our own little Icorse in this show. So far, the actor's doing an awesome job. His henchmen are okay. But right now, VM is a very interesting guy, and I want to see. I feel he has a connection to the 1988 past of what they showed in the beginning of season 3, so I want to see more of what VM, why he's there, and what's his main purpose. As well, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, aka Nikki Swango, is doing a really good job. Now, she didn't have a huge impact in episode 2 as she did in episode 1. She had way more scenes last week than she did this week. Hell, I would even say Carrie Coon. I think they kind of switched it out. Gloria gets more scenes this week than what Nicki does, which is totally fine. Now, before I get onto the cons, I do have one more pro I want to talk about, which is the ending. But before I get onto the ending, again, I want to say I'm really enjoying Ian McGregor so far, and right now he's the kind of big thing that's about season 3 so far, is the way of Emmett and Rey. And I've loved Rey since episode 1. I wasn't a big Emmett fan in episode 1, but now I'm kind of, again, I want to see what Emmett does. I want to see what Rey does. Now, Carrie Coon's character is coming in, and her character Gloria, now I'm getting more interested in Gloria. Now, they haven't really got me full on Gloria. I think she's interesting. I think what they're doing could be bigger potential, but as of right now, my full focus is on Rey and Emmett. Those are things, I think for a lot of people, only Ian McGregor's kind of the main thing that's kind of like, yes, that's the best thing about it. And then kind of Carrie Coon's on the side. VM is interesting. Both are well, but VM is more interesting than Gloria, if you get what I'm saying. So that's what I kind of see there. But the ending kind of reminds me of, in a way, of Iron Fist. I won't spoil Iron Fist, but it really reminds me how kind of like losing your company right in front of you in a way. That's not kind of how Iron Fist did it, but I'm saying Emmett is hiding, and that was another funny scene there as well, another humor, and he's smiling, and he tried to hide, but you could see that he's hiding from his body because it's a glass door. Not very smart, Emmett. You're supposed to be the smart one. That's something Rey would do. Anyway, so the guy takes over. VM ends up taking his company over just like that, right in front of him. He takes the offices, and he has all these boxes and all this information and stuff. I guess that was from the 18-wheeler. So this guy's very powerful, and who is he working for? Does he have a boss, or is he the boss? What is he working towards? That's something that I found very interesting at the end, of course, laid back. Now, I didn't think it was an amazing ending. It wasn't something where I was like, no, continue, no. I wasn't anything like that. Like, it ended, and I was like, oh, okay. So it wasn't nothing. It wasn't an amazing ending or something that made me on the edge of my seat. It was kind of like, okay, he's taking over the company. What happens next? It ended. That's about it. So I do want to say I didn't react much to the ending. I wasn't like, what a crazy ending. It was just kind of, it happened, and then that was it. So, but I still like the whole thing about it and where they're going to go next. And then the little interpretation of when Rey was going to Nicki's apartment, and the blood was still there from Maurice when his head got crushed and stuff. So that's pretty gross as well. They probably should hurry up and clean that stuff. Children walking through. Now going on to the cons, like I said earlier, Michael Strolberg's character, whatever his name is, Emmett's best friend, the one that keeps on making every decision for Emmett every walk of the way. I think he even drives Emmett everywhere. I get it. Maybe he's his consultant. Maybe he's his best friend. Maybe it's his manager. I don't get it. Emmett looks like a guy who could handle himself, and this guy is kind of like... Emmett looked like he could be the Godfather type, but he's not really. He's kind of like playing it. I guess it's just his look. He looks like a mobster type, but he's not. And his friend is just the guy that talks for Emmett all the time. And I don't like the way that character is being used. I think Emmett should be more on top, more than Michael Strolberg's character. And again, it's not Michael Strolberg. It's not bad acting. It's nothing like that. It's just the way the character comes across is very annoying. And then coming to threaten Rey, you know what I mean? It's like, dude, who are you? Who are you? That type of thing. So I'm not a huge fan of his character so far. Every time I see him on screen, I find him annoying. Now, the next two cons are nothing too huge. I'm not taking many points off for this at all, but just some of the little complaints I have. That's, again, it's nothing to worry about, really. It was more of that they didn't show nothing of Maurice. I'm assuming, obviously, they showed in a promo where Maurice is in the morgue, so they showed nothing of that. And then, as well, I thought they would kind of just jump to that, but they ended up alluding to the blood on the street and stuff, that it's still very fresh, but not going down to investigate, or Carrie Coon's character hasn't heard about this, or a person getting his head crushed. They haven't heard nothing of that. More of Enos still. I get it. Still, they're still very far apart in storyline until they connect later on in the season. As well, I do want to say what I wrote down. Emmett knows that it was Rey, that he knew that it was Nikki's blood, of course, because she ended up leaving the tampon or the thing in his desk. So he knew, but if she didn't leave that behind and she only left the blood on the wall, I think it would have gone different this way, is if he would have thought that it was VM instead. That he just instantly got mad at Rey. And they actually did have a very nice talk outside, and it kind of hurts my heart knowing that now Rey and Emmett don't want to talk again, or Emmett's very pissed off at Rey, that Michael Stroberg's character had to go tell Rey himself, and he doesn't want to see Emmett no more. Like, he's saying, you're not going to see Emmett again. That was the last time you saw him. If you go near him again, you'll die, or something like stuff like that. So I kind of found it very sad that happened, that Nicki messed that up there, where if she would have just left the blood on the wall and that was it, that would have been way, way better. So again, it's nothing huge, nothing too big that ruins the story, but I wanted to see it that way. I wish Noah Hawley would have wrote it that way instead, to make it think that VM was in his house, that now that who's the ass now or something, and then he sees that his company gets lost, something like that. I don't know, something to that level 3. Now, I gave the season 3 premiere a solid B as well, so that's where we're at right now. Episode 1 and episode 2 are both solid Bs. I think they're good episodes. I don't think they're great. I don't think they're amazing. They're not bad. The cinematography, the music's always there. The dialogue's always there. Right now, Carrie Coon's character is getting interesting, but still not enough to hook me in. VM is very more interesting there. I like him more this episode. Emmett and Rey, their scene right there is kind of like the main thing in the episode. Nikki's barely there, kind of there, doing her dark humor twist there with the period blood. And then at the end with Emmett's friend ending up hurting Rey's car, which was kind of just like a little add-on there. So it was kind of a slowed down episode. It was slow. It was a slow episode. And kind of, it could have had a little faster pace there, honestly. But maybe in the next few episodes it'll pick up a little bit more. But anyway, I see it kind of the same as episode 1, except I enjoyed episode 1 just a tidbit more. But I still see it on the same level as a solid B. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to smack the like button. You can comment down below and tell me what you guys thought about this episode. Do you enjoy this episode more than episode 1? Or maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you think this episode is way better than episode 2. What was your favorite part, and who is your favorite character so far in season 3? Again, mine is Rey and Nikki. And then we'll go to Emmett, and then we'll go to VM, and then we'll go to Carrie Coon's character, Gloria. And then her son, which she really doesn't, I guess, pay much attention to her son at all. I don't know. I just feel like she's a boring mom. Honestly, I really do. She's just a boring mom in the show so far from what I've seen. Just very, like, get in the car. Come on, let's go. I don't know. FX parents are not always the best. Except the Americans. They're alright. They're alright parents. Anyway, again, like, comment, share, and hit that subscribe button. Make sure to check out all my weekly Fargo reviews, as well as Better Call Saul, Legion, Taboo, Preacher, Fear the Walking Dead. Much, much more coming up. Thank you again. I'll see you guys next week. Till next time, Fargo fans. Bye-bye.